It's a female cow. Oh, अच्छा अरे यारो हाँ Sorry. No straw, no plastic. Namaste, my name is Malvikaa. I'm from India, south of India, and I'm a farmer practicing permaculture and natural farming. Proud. Don't you feel so proud? Hey, dolls. Gita is like, she rides a bike, she goes into the city with her mom sitting behind her as a pillion, one side, pura piche. And her mom is big, huh? And you see Gita how she is? Ade. And she's always smiling. She has a beautiful heart. Huh?
Ningo. You too.
I too. I little, you more. 11 years she's tolerated me. It's not easy to work with me, huh? I'm very like, what Gita? It's not easy, no, to work with me.
But ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು.
Say that in English.
You can understand, you can stay, na? Correct ಹೇಳಿ.
Correct. If you understand me, you can stay. I don't know, more than complicated, I'm kind of borderlining perfectionist, you know. I want things this way. It has to be like this. And yeah, kind of sometimes make it difficult for other people, you know. Other people find it difficult to live up to my expectations. I think in the village people have an appreciation for that kind of, you know, nature. In a sense, they always try and look at it as she wants things done the right way and all the way, you know, not like midway or halfway. And they don't really make opinions like the city guys make, you know. There's a kind of arrogance with the urban populace. You know, education does that to you. But with the villagers, You can be, and that's my nature. It's not that I'm trying to be something, that's what it is. So if I do something, I do it fully and I want to finish it. And I want to do it, like as best as I can. And I think people in the village do work like that. If you own a piece of land, if you're farming, you harvest a crop, you take it to the end, you don't leave things halfway. I think it's also the way the cities are, they're demanding on people. They're like negative spaces in many ways. And that puts that kind of expectation from people. It's difficult to be it's not very easy to be genuine. It's not very easy to be real, to be natural. Although your instincts are that, it's kind of a very artificial environment. Cities, I feel, are kind of artificial environments. But I'm not like running away from anything. I'm just being fully where I am. When I was in the city, I was there. When I'm here fully. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't want to spend my time in the cities. No way. I can grow my food. I can build my house. I can harvest water. I can cook my food. Even if I don't have all the gadgets, even if I don't have all the facilities. So I can live. Yeah. My parents, my brothers. I'm not like super close to any of them, like super close. When I was 18, I got married, right? And because I got married into another community, I was like thrown out of my community. So for a good 5-6 years, I had literally no contact. And just some secret visits they made, like my parents. And then the community accepted me after my ex-husband became popular. He made money. Kind of, the community kind of accepted, took us back. By which time I was ready to leave, So everyone was like, I became the black sheep in the family, doing all the things which I shouldn't be doing, kinds. When I was young, he was out of the community, right? He belonged to a different caste. He was South Indian. He wasn't really very well to do. But it doesn't happen in our families, right? Girls don't pick their husbands. You cannot talk about picking your husband. So it was like blasphemous, I had committed a crime or sin. So they kind of like shunned me. They tried to get me back. They tried to get me back and get me married off to someone. They just said it's still okay. It was still okay for them to, if I had been with someone and then still get married to someone else. Yeah, so there was a legal case, kind of fought the case for a year, stayed in a remand home because I was still under 18. And it was quite traumatic for me, to have led a sheltered life, and then suddenly I was, for choosing this man, I was in a place with, people who had committed murder and who were, who had their own little issues. It was kind of scary. Things were happening. I didn't know most of what was happening because there was police, there was these old wardens, in the remand home who didn't allow me to meet visitors. So I really didn't know what exactly was happening. I didn't know my rights. But I had a good lawyer, I had a little good support team. And yeah, when I got out, I was like, a little bitter and hurt, because I was subjected to a kind of pain in that tender age. It was just that, unbearable for me to continue to be in that relationship because there was physical manifestation of love that was not being controlled or expressed in the right way. And it became traumatic for me. I started stammering. I couldn't, talk properly. I was getting, psychosomatic illnesses. My back was, I had like chronic back pain, and Yeah, I needed psychological help. I needed sleeping pills to sleep. It became that bad. And there was no way I could communicate to him, things. There was no way I could repair. And he became so powerful that nobody could tell him anything. And the only way I thought, was possible for me to keep my sanity, because I had kids mainly, was to get out of it. And I think that was the best thing I could do for my kids, because it wasn't a healthy atmosphere for them. It wasn't healthy for me. And there was no other way, I could see. It wasn't that life would have been easier otherwise. It would have been easier for me to live in the marriage, to make some compromises and to live, to just stay. But it wasn't healthy, There was a lot of fear. I know of days where I would sleep myself, I would cry myself to sleep, and I'm sleeping next to him, and I'm like, I'm crying and putting myself to sleep. It was kind of a, maybe I don't know whether it was to do because I was very young, but I definitely, loved him. I think I still love him. I became too much of his mirror. He just couldn't handle, that kind of love. Nobody would ever love him like that. And I think he knows that. Nobody will ever love him that way. After my divorce, which is when I was 30, and that's about 18 years ago, I had to get into a situation where I had to make my living, I had 2 kids. One was 10, other one was a toddler. So I got to a stage where I had to complete my degree, because I thought that was my life, when I was married. That was it, I didn't really feel the need to be financially secure. I did not feel the need to think about any other kind of life. My own friends, women friends, felt very threatened because I was divorced and I was single. And the husbands, many of the husbands would behave so differently with me in front of their wives and when they were, alone with me. So these are the situations that we are exposed to. So I was also very naive, when I got out, I would, if any guy offered me some kind of help or spoke to me kindly, I would say, oh my God, he's so, so generous, he's so helpful. But I also found out that there was a finer element of personal interest in it, which I did not see. And slowly I learned my ways, I'm not saying everyone was like that, but most men were like that. It's also a lot to do with our own social upbringing, the way we raise our children, we raise our boys, we raise our sons, we treat our brothers, we treat our husbands. So I will not say that it is something to blame the men completely for. But at the same time, as women, we also should take ownership for what they have become, you know, and try and see, how is it that we can shift this little perception, they have about how a woman should be, or, within ourselves, as to what to expect of a man. All I want to say is it's never easy, it's never been easy, to try and make your, what do you say, make your stand, or, get what you want in a man's world. And I think it's also a universal phenomena. It's not just limited to India. Yeah, it's very obvious in India, It's, you see that, it's kind of evident, and women accept it openly. Not because I want to prove a point to the men, not because I want to become a man. I'm happy being a woman. I'm very proud being a woman. I wouldn't trade that for anything. Okay, and I know men have their place, so do we. And there's nothing that, it's like a two-sided army. We complement each other. It's a beautiful synchronicity. It's beautiful, if we can try and get things going. I'm not trying to prove any point, but yeah, I don't know, there have been situations where there's difficulty just trying to make men feel like, hey, listen, it's okay. I'm not threatening you. I'm not belittling you. I'm not saying that, you cannot do it and I can do it. You don't have to show that you know it all. It's fine, So now I just I just back off. I don't really try and be vocal about it. Somehow I've always been, connected to the soil, to the earth, to nature, to, to plants, to growing food, conscious about, all these things. And anytime I've had moments where, we speak about God, and if I've felt that experience, it's always been amidst nature, I look at something, some magnificent sunset, or beautiful mountain, the view, and then just I get that little feeling like you've seen God. So I knew that that is where I'm going to be. ಮನೆಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಧೂಳು. ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ ನೀವು?
ಇನ್ನು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀರು ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀರು ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ.
ಇದರಿಂದ ಆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಲಿಯಾದಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. People come here to ask for some kind of medical advice and what to eat and what to drink to heal from some cold or cough, or they bring their medical reports. I'm not a medical doctor, but they still like kind of feel that I can probably help them. So we have some peanuts growing here. Oh, very nice. I'm so happy. Yum yum. You see, it's all being eaten up by termites, the white ants, and you get some amazing soil. See, beautiful soil. Aha, smells so amazing. Lot of weeds that are growing because it's been raining, and this is the technique that we follow. We call it chop and drop. So we chop it and then we drop it. I got this piece of land, I think kind of 3.5 years ago. Yeah, it's been 3.5 years. There was literally nothing on this land, It was a washed off piece of land. There was no grass. There was some kind of weed, because nature is never barren. She's never barren, And I mean, I don't even like using that word barren. There's nothing called barren, Yeah, you can say a degraded piece of land, abused because it wasn't tended to, overgrazed, washed off, no tree cover, no ground cover. It was sloping, and all of the water, was running off, carrying with it the fine topsoil. I connected with the land, picked up the land, and slowly rented a house in the village, trying to build some kind of alliances, trying to understand, how the village works. We started putting up temporary structures. We had an open compost toilet. Now we just had like 4 poles. We stuck some coconut leaves around it, and we just put in like a curtain. And when you would sit on that pit with 2 stones, and you had like a bucket of soil and wood chips, and you had the view of the beautiful mountains, the Nilgiris were like looking at us, so you're having a morning poop with this huge big open to the sky window. Namaste Mahesh. Ellidira Mahesh? That's something I'm consciously working on, trying to reduce the material belongings. That's why even with the house that we have built, although it's a big house and everyone suggests that I should move into that house, I want to continue to live in my studio, because it's small, it's compact, I can manage it, and it will force me to keep things to the minimum. Dol, come here. You want to eat some kalekai? So we're pretty much a female-dominated farm, We have 2 dogs which are female, 2 cats which are female. Then it's me. Then we have the caretaker and their 2 daughters. And the only male is my son, who visits once in a while. And my daughter is also, part of the female gang. And then the husband of the caretaker, So it's a female-dominated farm. All the trees are females, because they're all fruit-bearing. All of them. So there's a lot of female power here on the land. Yeah, we just need some men once in a while. Hello? Yeah, the family will be happy if I start making money. All of them feel that I'm living like a hippie, in the sense that doing things I love, but it's not doing, it's not giving me financial security. I'm not generating income. But just, if they spend a little more time here, they'll know that this place can give me, all of that. So it is coming there, It's becoming that place. But I also feel the approach of looking at the land as something that will give you, like income, or that it's a money generator. I think it's a very wrong premise, to base it on that particular mindset or foundation, because the land will, there is a result, or there is a reward to the work that you do. It will happen. There's no other way to it. But to start with that mindset, that's when you get into plantations, then that's when you start getting into spraying and using pesticides or growing cash crops. Because land will always generate something, you will always have some resources. I'm eating food. 90% of what's on my plate is grown here. We have the peanut chutney. We grew the peanuts. We grew the hari mirch, the hari patta. We grew these lentils. We grew these millets. This is from the trees here, living bean. So, and then this brinjal is from here. I mean, you can't beat this life, right? It's like anything that we do, right? If you set up your own thing, it takes like 2-3 years for things to start rolling. Now we're going to have cows. We probably will have some goats. We'll grow some mushrooms. We'll start making some cheese. I need to generate enough to sustain this place. I'm not looking at making a huge profit of this place. Something that can take care of, feeding the dogs. There's a caretaker family now. And I'd like to be able to feed people when they come, from food that's grown from here. So it's going to happen in just a matter of time. There's nothing as powerful or as effective as when you've done the work and whatever you're speaking comes from experience, comes from having burnt your hand or, hurt your fingers, or blistered your toes and your palms. Nothing as powerful and effective as that. You can speak, we can direct, we can teach, we can read, we can refer YouTube, we can Google up, and we can speak, endless. Have Facebook and constantly giving advice, but I feel nothing is as effective as you doing it and then anything coming from that experience. If you want to get everything right before you start, it's never going to happen. So you feel you can start, you have little bit of resources, I think you can start, you should start. And things will start falling in place, because sometimes when you have problems, you also, find the solutions. But to be perfect, to get everything right, to be that one beautiful day after I'm 40, I've made enough money, I've made security, I'm getting some monthly income, then I'll buy a land, then I will do this. No. That's also one of the reasons for me to burn all my bridges back in the city, to burn all my, sources before I come in. Then you have only this, you have to make it work, you have to do it.
ये बुट्टी की नहीं
ಇವ್ರದ್ದು ಬ್ರಾಟ್ನ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಗಂಜಿ ತಗೊಂಡ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕ್ರೋಸಿನ್ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ಕ್ರೋಸಿನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸರಿ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡೋದು, ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದೀವಲ್ವಪ್ಪ, ಏನು ನೀನು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಭಯ ಅಂತ ಇದು ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಏನು ಗೀತಾ, ನಂದು ₹5 ಎಲ್ಲ ಖಾಲಿ ಆಗೋಯ್ತಾ? Although I was not given freedom, I always kind of took it, So I kind of did things that I wanted to do. Except for one thing that I remember. When I was growing up, I think I was in my 7th grade and I was selected for the national level athletics for my running. And my father said, in our family, girls don't go out. There's nothing like someone giving you freedom, right? You're born with it. When someone says, I hear of husbands saying, I've given her so much freedom. I'm like, excuse me, you don't give someone freedom. She already has it. It's the same. Wives also give husbands freedom then. So it's just, I always feel, this is from experience I'm talking about, and therefore I also am in a situation where I'm not blaming my ex-husband for what I kind of experienced, And if I do, then I also take the blame, because I allowed that to happen. So there's a lot that we need to do as women to shift our own paradigms inside, I think all women, irrespective of where they are from, they have the same rights. They probably yearn for the same kind of freedom, or the way to be. So I don't think we have less. It's just that we exercise it less. I have men listening to me. I have men who chat with me, who talk to me, who speak like like I'm talking about the village men. They speak everything that they would speak to another guy. So this is a good thing. So all I did was like change that equation within me, and I don't feel any less in comparison to any other woman abroad, or any other woman from a liberated culture. I don't feel any less. Yeah, maybe I choose consciously what I wear, because I'm in a cultural setup which respects, or I respect the cultural setup. Yeah, but otherwise I don't think there are any restrictions. And we do, in India, we do have very, very strong women. You don't even know, there's so many unsung heroes, in the villages, women who have done amazing things, who are doing amazing things, who have no access to internet, they don't have a Facebook or a blog, but they are doing fantastic jobs, There's so many of them. Kuntappa. ಇವರು ಯಾರು ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು ಇದನ್ನ? Okay, we're planting. We made some potting mix and we're putting them in small poly bags. Hopefully they'll make some good seedlings and we'll have more plants for us and to give away. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರಿ, ನಾನೀಗ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ.
Very nice.
Oh, you didn't see a lot of changes. You don't have birds eating your sunflower seeds. So when they are mature but still not
I'm
flowering,
heading back to Mysore
then
now,
you
so
start
maybe in a
flowing it
couple of
back.
hours
That's
I'll
when
be
you're
there.
nice.
One
The
minute.
partial flowering has
Also
happened.
works.
I can send you the crops.
The
Which is
rest
fine.
is
I think it's too late now. Government is flying planes and putting sodium chloride, and that's why it's raining all this. August, September is because of that only.
Really?
Varsha Dare, some scheme is there.
Shit, here also.
Yeah, because June, July it didn't rain.
Nobody
May-
knew,
May-
nobody wrote about it.
It's there in newspapers now.
Oh, because we don't read newspapers. Like I don't even know. Nobody spoke about it also. TV में आया होगा ना. Local guys normally say, like we don't know what barish this is, whether it's the coming monsoon or the going monsoon. You know.
It's actually disrupting plans. Like
Yeah.
we should have harvested. It was still raining. Worried now. Because for almost fifth year of continuous drought. We have cars, we have money a little bit, but the 67% of Indian farmers have nothing. So if no rain, finished. So 5 years of drought will kill you. People have to eat. Farmers have to send their kids to school. Right? Because if you go around, like this is all permaculture abundance. Like this is like 4-year-old. You can see like stuff growing and all. But otherwise, farms these are growing cotton, sunflower, like this year, a lot of farmers have not planted anything. So like this first southeast monsoon, they have not planted anything. They just let it go. But last year, one of the guys, 4 acres, he had spent 25,000 putting sunflower. Didn't rain properly. Then it rained. Then sunflower came, but half the size. He earned 15,000, 10,000 loss. This year he hasn't leased it. He wants people to lease it. So that's the reality on the ground. So I don't know.
ಹೊಸದು ಬೇಡ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಳೆವು ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. As an outsider, when you enter a village, you're seen as someone who is moneyed, who has everything and like your full stomach, you know, you're coming from a filled belly, which means that you are not addressing or looking at things with the same perspective as the local villagers who have to, you know, eke out a living from working on the land. When we as outsiders or when, you know, different organizations come to fix a problem, it's very important to understand the context, you know, because the way we look at a problem is not the same as how they look at the problem. I'm sure many of the villagers are aware of what's happening. They know that because there's tree felling, there's, you know, less of rains, because there's sand mining, there's no water standing in the streams, because they're using chemicals, you know, there is so much of disease, you know. Not that they're not aware, you know, they are aware, but they don't have alternatives, or they don't have that kind of support. So it's important to understand that in any kind of intervention, that they have that kind of support, they have that kind of hand holding that happens for them to transition from, they thought of all of these things, pesticide and chemical use as positive things, but they're not anymore, But excuse me, they have to feed. It's not that they're making a lot of money out of it. One season's in, one season's out. There are quite a few losses. But it's important to be able to find solutions which work for them as well. Unless we go to their side and look at a problem from their eyes, we'll never be able to, cause any or affect any kind of change. And today, farming is not really considered as a meaningful engagement or profession. Whatever is happening, we are aggravating it, we are speeding it up, but it's also at the same time it's a natural evolutionary process, just that it seems like it's happening too fast and doesn't give a very positive feeling. Yeah, I mean, we have destroyed so much, human beings are destructive creatures, and we have created so much of natural resource loss, depletion, abuse, exploitation, and we are compromising not just on our own lives, which we don't realize, but way more, we're dragging with us many other life forms, and that's very tragic. Yeah.